boys and girls of grade 5, and welcome to another English language lesson. I'm your teacher, Miss Melissa, and today we will be looking at things vocabulary. Our topic for today is suffixes. So boys and girls, what is a suffix? Well, a suffix is a syllable that is added to the end of a root word to form another word. Suffixes are used in English language to create rich vocabulary. These suffixes change the meaning or grammatical function of a base word or root word. Take for example, and this must be familiar when we had done comparison of adjectives. If we add the suffix er or the suffix est to the word fond, we would be able to create the comparative fonder and the superlative fondest. Additionally, if we take ist and we add it to a person who does art, we can get the word artist, a person who is skilled in a particular area. Let's take, for example, we have the verb read. This verb can be turned into a noun by adding the suffix er, and so read becomes reader. Likewise, by adding the suffix able, the verb read now becomes an adjective, readable. Sounds like magic. Thus, boys and girls, suffixes do not only form a new word, but it also changes the grammatical function of the word. Let's say, for example, from one part of speech to the other, verb to adjective. Suffixes can therefore be used to form nouns, verbs, adverbs, and adjectives. As we can see from these examples, suffixes create a variety in the English language. They provide endless ways for us to express our thoughts, feelings, findings, and emotions. They morph nouns into adjectives and verbs into nouns. They express deeper qualities, providing layers of color and intriguing creations for writers. Be aware, though, that sometimes adding a suffix to a base word changes the spelling of that new word. For example, create, create, if we add the suffix ive, we must drop the e before adding ive to get the adjective creative. So, boys and girls, it is important that when we are adding suffixes, we obey basic spelling rules. For example, in words ending in y that are preceded by a consonant, such as the word beauty or ugly, the y may change to an I when a suffix is added. So, if we want to add the suffix ful to beauty, we must change the y to I before adding ful. Or, if we want to add the suffix ness to ugly, we must change the y to I before adding that suffix. So, boys and girls, if we must observe spelling rules, in words such as use and adore that ends in a silent e, before adding a suffix that starts with a vowel, we must drop the e. For example, if we want to change use to usable, we must drop the e before adding able. So, usable is spelled usable. Also, when adding the suffix ful to words, be careful not to double the L. So, beautiful is spelled Beautiful. Now, let's take a closer look at examples of actual suffixes. Now, these useful shape-shifting tools can be as small as an S or ED, or can be larger additions such as ATION or IOUS. So, remember we said early on that suffixes can change words to nouns, adjectives, adverbs, and verbs. So, boys and girls, we will look at the suffix, the meaning of that suffix, and some examples of the suffix in use. So let's take a look at some noun suffixes. If we have the suffix ACY and it is added to the end of a word, it attaches the meaning state or quality. For example, private can become the noun privacy. Privacy is spelled Privacy. Also, if we have the word delicate, we can change that word to the noun delicacy. Further, there is the suffix AL. AL has the meaning act or process of. For example, if we have the verb refuse, it can become a noun by adding the suffix AL. However, we must drop the E before adding AL. So, refusal is spelled REFUSAL. Similar examples would be recital or rebuttal. So, boys and girls, other suffixes that we can use to form nouns may include ANCE or ENCE. These suffixes mean state or quality of. So, if we have the verb maintain and we add the suffix ANCE, we can have the new noun maintenance. Maintenance is spelled MAINTENANCE. Remember, boys and girls, when we're adding these suffixes, we must be keen on our spelling rules. Additionally, we can have the suffix DOM. DOM means place or state of being. Can you think of any nouns that end in that suffix? Let me give you a few seconds to think about it. Yes, I'm sure you're thinking wisdom, freedom, and boredom. Let's move on. We can also add the suffix ER or OR to mean one who. So if we have the word train, we can have one who trains being called a trainer. TRAINER. Or if we have the verb narrate, we can form one who narrates, narrator. NARRATOR. Boys and girls, there are many other suffixes that we can add to the end of words to form nouns. Take, for example, IST. We can form the word dentist or chemist. If we have the suffix ITY or TY, we can form the words serenity or inactivity. MENT is a good suffix to form the word argument, or punishment. Additionally, if we have the suffix ness, we can form words such as sadness, or heaviness, or happiness. Also, if we have the suffix ship, we can form friendship or ownership. And additionally, sion and tion are great suffixes for forming words such as composition, transition, or concession. Since we have looked at suffixes that can form nouns, we can now take a look at verb suffixes. These are suffixes that help us to form verbs. Our first example is the suffix ate, which means become. Here, we can move from one part of speech to another part of speech. Take, for example, if we have the adjective regular, it can become a verb, not by magic, but by adding the suffix ate. So regular can be changed to regulate, regulate. Another example of a suffix that can be used to form a verb is en, which also means become. If we have the noun enlightenment, we can change it to simply enlighten, which is a verb with the suffix en. Other examples might include awaken or strengthen. Additionally, boys and girls, there is the verb suffix ify or fy, which means to make or become. For example, terrify, satisfy, beautify, rectify. Also, ize, or in some cases ise, which also means become, can be added to the end of words to form verbs. So, if we have the word civil, it can become the verb civilize. Or, if we have human, it can become a verb humanize. Or, we can even have words such as socialize. Let's take a look at some suffixes that we can use to form adjectives. So, boys and girls, the first adjective suffix that we will look at is able or ible. These suffixes means capable of being. Examples might include edible, edible, or presentable, presentable. Another example of an adjective suffix would be ful, which means full of. So, we might say doubtful, doubtful, or we might have the word careful, careful. Another example of an adjective suffix include ic or ical, which means pertaining to. Examples include musical, mythic, domestic, or chaotic. Another example of an adjective suffix would be ish, which means having the quality of. So, we might say childish or snobbish, meaning that someone has the quality of a child or a snob. Additionally, boys and girls, an adjective suffix might be less, less, which means without. So we can have words such as endless, which means without an end, or ageless, lawless, or effortless. In relation to adverb suffixes, the suffix ly usually forms adverbs. So we might have the word fierce, which becomes an adjective by adding ly. So we have fiercely. We might have the word happy, and so by adding ly, we can have the word happily. Fresh becomes freshly as an adverb, and harsh becomes harshly. So boys and girls, we have examined quite a number of suffixes, their meanings, and their examples. I encourage you to do further readings by examining these suffixes and their examples. So, let's take a look at an exercise. Here, we will use the suffixes full, less, ous, or er to complete each of the sentence. We will add these suffixes to the word in brackets. We must be careful of the spelling and the context in which the word might be used. So let's take a look at the exercise. Number 1 says, I am something to have such a loving family. The word in brackets is thank. So boys and girls, what suffix might you add to thank to form a new word? Placed ful, you are on the right path. Thank can become the adjective thankful by adding ful. So it becomes thankful. I am thankful to have such a loving family. Another sentence. Will saw a something puppy wandering around town. The word in brackets is home. What suffix might we add to home to form a new word? Yes, we can add the suffix less. So our sentence would read, Will saw a homeless puppy wandering around town. Let's look at another. Something waiters served our table morning and evening. The word in brackets is courtesy. Remember, we can add ful, less, ous, or er. What would be your choice? boys and girls, we can form the word courteous by adding OUS. However, we must drop the S and Y before adding the OUS, since courteous is spelled COURTEOUS. Courteous waiters served our table morning and evening. Let's look at another sentence. This broken toy is a something piece of junk. The word in brackets is used. What suffix might we add to use to form a new word? Definitely, we can add less. So our sentence would read, this broken toy is a useless piece of junk. Let's look at another. This is my first time to study Spanish. I am a. The word in brackets is begin. What might we add to begin to form a new word? Definitely, we can form the noun beginner. And so we will have, this is my first time to study Spanish. I am a beginner. However, before we add ER, we must double the N, since beginner is spelled BEGINNER. Let's look at another. Malia was something when she heard about the strike. The word in brackets is fury. Which of the suffixes would you use to form a new word from fury? Definitely, you have chosen OUS, since furious would be the best adjective to place in that sentence. However, since we must observe basic spelling rules, before adding OUS, we need to drop the Y, change it to I, and then add OUS. Furious is spelled FURIOUS. Malia was furious when she heard about the strike. Let's look at another sentence in this exercise. Sam really wants to be a something when he grows up. He likes to teach people. Our verb in brackets is teach. What suffix might we add to teach to form a new word? Definitely, we can form the noun teacher by adding er to teach. Sam really wants to be a teacher when he grows up. He likes to teach people. So, boys and girls, we have completed one exercise where we were adding suffixes to form new words. However, let's do some matching. Here, we will match the suffix to its meaning. We will use the word after each suffix as a hint. The meanings that we have are female, full of, same as or similar, in the direction, most, able to, sound, without, person who, and word or name. So the first one we have is the suffix less, and the word formed with that suffix is hopeless. Therefore, boys and girls, what is the meaning of the suffix less? Definitely, we had said earlier in our lesson that less means without. Give yourself a hand for doing such an awesome job. Let's move on. We have the suffix able, and the word is comfortable. From the list of meanings, what is the meaning of the suffix able? Yes, able or able as a suffix means able to. Let's go on. We have the suffix er. The word formed using that suffix is teacher. What then is the meaning of that suffix? Yes, boys and girls, the suffix er means a person who. Good job so far. Let's move on. We have the suffix ward or ward, and we can form the word backward. Therefore, what does ward mean as a suffix? Yes, if you chose in the direction, then you are correct. And lastly, we have the suffix ful, and we have formed the word colorful. What does that suffix ful mean? Definitely, ful means full of. So, boys and girls, we have looked at quite a number of suffixes, and we are now acquainted with their meanings and examples of such. So, let's recap. Remember that a suffix is a letter or group of letters added to the end of a word to add or change the meaning or function of the word. Suffixes can be therefore used to form nouns, verbs, adverbs, and adjectives. Suffixes examples include ful, less, ous, and er. And lastly, boys and girls, you must observe spelling rules when adding suffixes. Boys and girls of grade 5, It's always a delight when I can spend some time with you. I hope that you also enjoyed our time together and cannot wait for our next class where we will be given another opportunity to build our vocabulary. Until then, remember to revise and apply your knowledge in speech and writing, since what you don't use, you can lose. Until then, do keep those brains active as we learn new things. Stay safe, pupils, until we meet again for another vocabulary lesson.